How you do that there? How you do that there? And I ain't mad about it. No, I am your man's Nic Rattlehead, chilling in the heezy, cold chilling for sheezy. You better recognize it. And behind this camera, somewhere out in California, hopefully staying safe and watching over your boy, is my buddy, my pal, my compadre, my amigo, my brother. My man's with the master plan, 100 grand, only you, me, and God knows how much I love this guy, man. You have no clue. Tell him one more time, what's your name? Matt the Graff. Matt the Graff. You better recognize him. And we are Aftershock Reviews, here to give you guys the best extreme music reviews and the 2023 year-end list that I think is the best one. I'm a little biased, but that's okay though. But I wanted to go over some of the great, exciting stuff that I was listening to this year. You know, your boy got engaged. Yeah. To the best woman alive. Yeah. And I wasn't putting out as many reviews because I don't know, man. I'm just excited. I was just excited and zeroed in on that. But at the end of the day, I still love my stuff, man. I still love my stuff. And I was still listening to a crap ton of great bands. And I wanted to at least share it with you guys. I wanted to at least share with you guys my musical journey for this year and just let you guys know the 5 best EPs that I was listening to and the top 10 albums of 2023 that I thought were just smoking. It was so good. It was so good. So we're going to kind of like fly through some of these things just to kind of make sure that since, we're getting back into the rhythm of things, I don't overwhelm Matt with another 30-minute long video and he's just stuck looking at me like I'm insane and kind of mad. But I'm going to go over 5 EPs of 2023 and the top 10 albums of 2023. You better recognize it. And we're going to start with our EPs, okay? And we're going to fly through them, but these are some of the best EPs that I've listened to. And it's a little bit more of a good variety of things that I really liked, right? And I'm going to start with Undergang's EP. I'm not going to even try to pronounce this. I'm not. I can't even pronounce any of the track titles. I can't. But it's gross, it's slimy, it's gurgling, it's just wonderful slice of death metal that comes from Undergang. And this is the type of stuff I like, right? This is that low IQ type of stuff that I like, right? This is that stuff that kind of induces a gag reflex. And I really do appreciate this EP for it. Again, it's Undergang's, whatever that is, right? The next one, PeelingFlesh. Okay, look. So this is Slamaholics Volume 2. I have my list up here. Look. You never really heard me talk about Slam, right? You never really heard me do it, but holy schmolies, was I in it this year. And you're going to hear the name PeelingFlesh again later on in the top 10, right? Foreshadowing. But at the end of the day, this was fun. This is the type of stuff that kind of like helps you decompress, right? You're dealing with a whole bunch of stupid people at work, right? And I still love a lot of my coworkers, but there are times where you just get a little bit overwhelmed and you need to blow off some steam, right? Or if you're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff out in the world and you just want to find an album that you can put on, decompress, and then just start breaking crap all around the crib, right? This is the one to do it. Great breakdowns, great excerpts that kind of like feed into the no nonsense, but also at the same time, just carefree atmosphere. It's fun. And the breakdowns and the slams. Yes. I love everything about this. Again, this is Slamaholics Volume 2 by PeelingFlesh, the next one. And I know this one's a late edition, right? But at the end of the day, I'm starting to think that these guys are going to be like one of my just top 5 bands by the time all of this is said and done, because everything that they've released, I just think freaking smokes. And this is Xibalba. Come on, Nick, you ain't been that long, right? Xibalba's album, walk with me here, again, I can't pronounce these things. I'm so sorry, Xibalba. I'm so sorry. But that EP that you guys released this month is so good. Look, the way that they arrange their riffs, right? The way that they tune their guitars, right? Everything feels so suffocating. Everything feels so weighty, meaty. I'm just saying. Oh, and then the vocal delivery of everything. This oozes rage. This oozes frustration, right? This oozes some type of weird mental derangement. And I freaking love this thing, right? Again, there's very little things that Xibalba's come out with, if at all, that I don't like, right? And this is just a shining example of good songwriting. Again, good riffage. Yet again, come on, buddy. It ain't been that long, right? Good riffage. And on top of that, just a good atmosphere. I love this thing. Again, this is Xibalba's new EP. Again, I can't pronounce it. I'm so sorry. But we're going to go into my number 2. And the number 2 is going to be Dream Unending and Worm, Starpath. Look, I'm a Worm fan. I'm not going to sit here in front with you guys and say that I was with Worm on every single thing, but ever since Foreverglade, anything that band has done has been primo stuff, top notch, just the primo slice of doom, death. It's just so good. It's just so good. And this thing, again, while it's short, it's an EP and puts on full display what both bands are capable of doing. I really like this thing. And yet again, this is called Starpath by Dream Unending and Worm. And my final one, my number 1, my favorite EP of 2023, bars, by the way, you better recognize it, is See You in the Dark by Softcult. You saw this coming. This is one of the reviews that we dropped from this year, and there's a reason for that, right? Whether we're harkening back to the Riot Girl scene of the 90s, right? Whether we're seeing the grunge influences play a key part in the way that they craft their songs, right? Or whether we're talking about the wonderful, immersive shoegaze that Softcult has created, as well as the more engaging scene that they're trying to craft around the people who enjoy their music. Everything about this is absolutely wonderful. The messaging, the songwriting, the way that they put themselves out there. This whole EP was, to me, an immersive experience. And as a UXer, as a music lover, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I want. I wanted to try and sneak this into my top 10, but especially since it says EP at the end, I couldn't do it. But for the EPs, I can. And this is my favorite, my favorite EP from 2023. And that is, again, See You in the Dark by Softcult. I'll also make sure to try and include links so you guys can listen to each one of these EPs and each one of these albums that we're about to talk about. I'll leave that in a link in the description below, as well as some type of link where you guys can go and support these bands. You can go buy their merch. You can go see if there's some concerts that you can buy tickets for 2024, because it looks stacked. We want to make sure that we support our bands, okay? We have not gotten out of that habit. It's even though at the end of 2023 and all into 2023 and 2020, and trying to make sure that we keep our bands going, that we keep making sure that our bands have the funds and the resources they need to make us new albums and not take 3 years, and to get on the road and do what they need to do. Heck yes. But getting off my soapbox, taking off my preacher hat, going into what we came here for, right? And that is, Matt, if you can make this look epic in some type of way, I don't know how, but if you can work some type of magic, I would be so appreciative. But check this out. We're now about to get into Aftershock Review's top 10 albums of 2023. You better recognize it. Now, these albums, I love. You haven't heard me scream them from the mountaintops just yet, but every one of these albums did something for me. Whether it was a form of pure escapism, whether it was some type of, external thing that was able to scream my emotions for me, whether they were frustration or whether it was just pure happiness, right? Or at the same time, check this out now, whether it was just pure dumb fun. Pure dumb fun, right? And that's something. If you allow me to get back on my soapbox and put my preacher hat back on for a quick second, I understand that when we're talking about these year-end lists, or we're talking about bands that we, think are going to be the best bands of this generation, whatever else like that, they have to be pushing forward some type of new sound, or they need to be reinventing the wheel or whatever. It's like, no, tell you what, if the band is fun, right? If you enjoy the band, if the band makes you smile, I'm also a big Flossie Carter fan, whatever else like that. If your nipples do this, Every time you listen to the music, if you get the fizz, if you're a Top Gear guy, if you get the fizz, every time you hear their riffage or you hear the vocalist start gurgling, screaming, or whatever in your ear, the thing is freaking awesome. And don't worry about the fact that they're not inventing the wheel, but they're doing something that is already pre-established, but it's good. It's freaking good. Execution, ladies and gentlemen. Execution is what makes these things great. And I love every one of these freaking albums. Some of them are pushing forward new sounds, but some of them, it's just fun. And I just want to get into my number 10 album, and that's going to be No Love Lost by Year of the Knife. Look here, I've been a Year of the Knife guy for a very long time, since the inception of this show. And as I was starting my metal journey, they were one of the hardcore bands that actually caught my ear and made me go like, what is this? And No Love Lost continues to do that. Now, there is a plethora of different features and things of that nature to give the album even more dimension, even more depth, but that sound, that harsh grinding, hardcore, that rage is still there. And I love every track from this freaking thing. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm hoping that the band is continuing to get back on their feet. We're wishing the best for Madison. And I just want them to get to a point where they can get back on the stage in top health, feeling 110%, and we can look back on this era and say, you know what, while you guys were going through the hard times, your fans were right there with you. And that right there doesn't play into how I feel about the album, but it adds extra dimension to it, because even if they were 100% and they released this thing, it would still be here. It's just good songwriting. It's just good. It's just good. And this is No Love Lost by Year of the Knife. Oh yeah. Now, going into number 9. This one's a doozy. And this is going to be The Enduring Spirit by Tomb Mold. Didn't see this coming. Didn't see this coming. One, didn't know they were even going to release an album. And then on top of that, what they did was they released let's just be real, it's a progressive death metal album. Now, they always kind of had, more adventurous riffage, right? And I've never minded. If you even listen to Blood Mirror, right, from Manner of Infinite Forms, you can kind of hear the fact that they really like their instruments and they really like to take that death metal, even though it was filthy, even though it was grimy, even though it was disgusting and ooze pus from every room that it inflicted on you, right? It was almost a little bit highbrow. And I really appreciated that. And I really think that's also what kind of made them one of the bigger death metal bands, right? Because everything didn't feel, I don't like this word, but some people use it. Everything didn't feel derivative, right? It felt new and fresh and invigorating. They take that and say, cool, now we're going full on progressive. And it took me a minute to get on board with this. I'm not even going to lie to you. It took me a minute to get on board with this. Because I'm like, if y'all could bring this back down to like a 3rd grade reading level, I would so enjoy this a little bit more. But the more you get out of your preconceived notions of what a band should do because of what they did in the past and what you liked in the past, and you can listen to it with fresh ears, this thing freaking smokes. This thing freaking smokes. It's so good. It's so good. Again, this is The Enduring Spirit by Tomb Mold. Number 8. Leprous Daylight by Fossilization. Again, y'all know I love my stuff. My caveman riffs, my oonga boonga, big forehead, heavy eyebrow riffs. I love them. And at the end of the day, that's what this is. This death doom behemoth that, again, Fossilization delivers to me. This is so good. It's knuckle dragging, it's slow, it's brutal, it suffocates. It's so good. It's so good. It feels like one of them just cold cocked me as hard as they possibly could with their clubs, with every riff, every breakdown, every tempo change. It's so good. It's so good. Again, number 8, and I told you I would fly through these, right? I told you I would fly through these. But number 8 is Leprous Daylight by Fossilization. Number 7, Palate Cleanser, right? And this is going to be Passages by Johnathan Blake. Anybody who knows me knows I am a big jazz guy. Huge jazz guy, right? And although I love to listen to my death metal, I love to listen to my hip hop, I love to listen to my pop music, right? And I do like that. I love jazz even more, right? And the cool thing about this Johnathan Blake album is the fact that he continues his journey on Blue Note and continues to delve a little bit more into that groovy, almost jazz fusion type of thing, but still maintain the traditionalist qualities of some of the things he was doing in the past. It's really good. I absolutely love this thing. And the title track, Passages, right? I suggest to anybody, if you're a metalhead, if you love jazz, anybody, just listen to that track and then judge it for yourself. If you like that, you'll love the entire freaking thing. Just listen to the title track, right? It's so good. It's wonderful. Again, we're talking about Passages by Johnathan Blake. Number 6. I'm going to try to contain myself a little bit when it comes to this one, okay? Watch this here. We're going to talk about Homicidal Ecstasy by Sanguisugabogg. Sanguisugabogg released an album in the early part of this year, and it's been in my rotation since the early part of this year. I love the maturity now. Yes, they're still chugging almost every riff. The breakdowns are freaking doofus, and it's glorious, right? I love the vocal, brutal death metal delivery, right? But at the same time, you're starting to see a little bit more variation with his vocals, which I think is absolutely dope, right? I have one problem. One problem, and allow me to voice this to you. Where in the blue hell is my ringing snare? They toned it down, bruh. They toned it down. And I know they got flack for it. I know they got flack for it. And I understand that maybe they're like, okay, cool, we had our little fun and let's try and actually, sharpen our writing chops, which they did. And yeah, I want my poing. I don't know. It's something that makes me smile. And I miss that here. But outside of Nic ranting about things that kind of don't matter, this thing is dope. And I highly suggest it to anybody who loves that brutal death metal, who loves just normal traditional death metal, anybody who loves those filthy, grimy, disgusting, old school death metal lyrics that kind of make you blush a little bit if you read them on paper. You'll love Homicidal Ecstasy by Sanguisugabogg. And that's why it's my number 6 album. Number 5. We're getting into the nitty gritty, right? Now, bear with me as I try to say this, right? We're going to be looking at Gowanus Death Stomp by Gravesend. Y'all know I like Gravesend. Y'all know I freaking love them, right? I reviewed their first full-length album that they released on 20 Bucks Spin here on this channel, right? I think it was Methods for Human Disposal. Listen, this though takes everything that I loved about that album. It was rat infested. There was slime coming from all of the sewers on that album, right? There was trash everywhere, and there was no hope, no nothing on that album, right? It was just filthy, right? It takes that, but sharpens it, right? The production is just as gross. It's just as infected as the other one was, but it seems clearer now for some odd reason. It just feels a little bit more defined, right? And that lends itself well to the percussion, because that kick drum is even more impactful, and it hits you right here in your stomach area, right? And it's so overwhelming, and it's such a good immersive experience that it almost stinks around my house every time I play it. It's so good. It's so good. And if you love, again, that depth, you're starting to see Nic's palette, right? You're starting to see the kind of things that I like. This fits the bill 100%. So we want to talk again about Gowanus Death Stomp. I always have to make sure I'm trying to pronounce that right. By Gravesend. Number 4, Monuments of Absence by Finn. Nic, you like an atmospheric black metal album? I surely do. And I've been a fan of Finn since I think it was 2017. That had Winter. I think Winter came out in 2017, right? And I love that atmospheric, ethereal, dry, cold, and wet atmosphere that Finn was, right? And I love, on top of that, the riffage was really pretty, but it was really sad and really melancholy. And almost, dare I say, and I hope YouTube doesn't too much flag me for this word, but depressive, right? But it's wonderful. It's something that you can literally get lost in, and you can really think about things, right? Or if you're just trying to focus on your work, or if you're trying to just drown everything else out around you. This album has riffs that are wonderful if you're paying attention, But if you're not paying attention, it sets a mood around you, right? And it helps you escape, right? Or it helps you be a little bit more introspective, just like this album is. I think it's wonderful. Everything about it is beautiful. And this is, again, Monuments to Absence by Finn. Now, number 3. We're in the top 3 albums, bucko, and I'm still under 30 minutes. I'm doing well. Number 3 is Smoke by Snuffed on Sight. Remember what I told you. Remember what I told you. I don't need somebody pushing the envelope every time they release an album, right? I don't need it. If I can have fun, if I can have fun, I'ma love your album to heaven and back, right? Or in some instances, to hell and back, right? I'm just gonna love it. This album made me cheese, right? The title, not the title track, but it's one of the tracks, DDT, right? DTD, right? Slumped. It has one of the most doofus / fun / violence-inducing breakdowns I've ever heard. And the build-up for it is absolutely fantastic. Now, does it have, from what I understand, a lot of slam cliches? Maybe. I hate that word, but people should not come into this thinking that they're going to be doing something different. No, they're just here to have a raucous good time. And that's what it is. And it's almost like a concert experience. From the intro, even to the smoke break interlude. There's a smoke break interlude. They know that they putting you through all kinds of craziness, right? Through all types of tomfoolery, right? And what they do midway through the album, it's just a smoke break. It's an interlude, like how bands, will have one set, they'll tear it down, and then they'll play rando stuff for the audience as they're tearing down, and it's setting up another band, and then that band starts. It's that. It's freaking that. It's absolutely great. I love this album. The breakdowns, fun. The interludes are fun. The inserts, right? Like all of the different sit your sexy ass down and stuff like that. That's in it. It's fun. And then all of the slams, let me tell you something. If you're trying to have a good time, if you're trying, like I said before, have the Flossie Carter, and your nipples do like that right here, listen to Snuffed on Sight's Smoked. It's fun. And that is why it's my number 3. Because I have a good time with it. Now, we get to number 2. I have been struggling. With these last 2 albums, I've been struggling. And you probably hear that from every reviewer every year, but you don't know what it's, well, maybe you guys do know because you probably make lists and you share them amongst your friends, but y'all get what I'm saying, where there's 2 albums that you have just been pumping all year, and now you have to try and order them, and it's like choosing between your 2 kids, which one you like more. It's so much so that I'm making this executive decision right here in front of you guys, okay? My number 2 album is End. The Sin of Human Frailty. I know my homeboy Ed is looking at the screen like, what? Yes, Ed, End is number 2. The Sin of Human Frailty is number 2. And I love this thing. I was calling most of my friends who would listen to me when it comes to this album. And at the end of the day, what I love about it so much is the atmosphere and the fury. Holy schmolies. It's like hardcore. There's some, I dare say, a hair bit of power violence, noise, grind, all of this crap in a weird cauldron, and it's boiling to the top, and the Sin of Human Frailty comes out. It's absolutely fantastic. Even when we're talking about Meaningless is the Lamb, right? Like, that thing freaking smokes. And who does it have doing guest vocals on it? Freaking Dylan Walker, right? Or whether we're talking about the track Embodiment of Grief. This album is good. This album is multidimensional, and I've only been able to see in shows on YouTube, right? I've only been able to see them. I've never really been. I don't have the cojones to really go to one, right? And they look wild. Heavens to Megatroid, what would this look like at an end show? What would Worthless is the Lamb be like? What would that experience be like at an end show? I would love to watch it on YouTube, but I kind of value my teeth, my bones. I've never broken the bones. Amen. And I never really had a black eye because I never lost a fight. I'm not going to no end show with that. But I will show enough throw all kinds of bows like I'm ludicrous listening to this freaking thing. I love this album. I love this thing. I love this thing. Look, I love this thing. If you have not listened to The Sin of Human Frailty by End, I don't know what you're doing. But check it out. And that is why The Sin of Human Frailty by End is my number 2 album of the year. Number 1. Man, I'm still under 30 minutes. I'm doing well, right? I'm doing well. Number 1 album of this year had me singing all of its riffs. All of its riffs. Since I've been listening to it midway through this year. It's all of them, right? And again, it's one of those albums that is, one, it's fun. It's really fun. And it has a lot of gross lyrics to it. But at the same time, it's memorable. It's so memorable with all of the great riffage and the great... I'm not going to continue to build the suspense. My number 1 album from this year is The Insatiable Thirst for Torment by Celestial Sanctuary. Ooh, bucko. Look, Trapped in the Rank Membrane. Look, let me tell you something. That riff, that opening riff, is the best riff of this year. It is the best riff of this year. And dare I say, that riff alone is what kind of makes me want to put it at number 1. Because it's so good. I cannot stop singing it. I cannot stop. And I know I usually sing for you guys, but I've only got like 4 minutes left, and I'm trying to make sure I stay on track. You better recognize me. But at the end of the day, this freaking thing smokes. Oh my gosh. From the cover to the... Look, and we're going to get into one of the things that I thought I would hate. I thought I would hate the percussion. Because it seems like that kick drum has a trigger on it. And it seems a little thin, right? It seems a little thin. And usually I can't stand that. Usually it makes my hair stand on end, my skin crawl, my nuts itch, my toes itch. It makes me feel that type of way every time I hear those trigger type of things. But for this one, the percussion and what it's doing is so outstanding. Whether he's putting in these wonderful fills, keeping time, or literally losing his scruples all over the kit. It's wonderful what he's doing here, right? And on top of that, the riffage, the songwriting is good. And then the vocal delivery. I'm not going to try and replicate this man's voice because I'll shred all my vocal cords. But it's absolutely wonderful. Holy schmolies. And the thing that kind of gets me a little bit is I wish this is one of the ones. This is not even one of the ones. This is the one I wish I did a review on this year. And I will remedy that. I will remedy that. But at the end of the day, this thing right here, Insatiable Thirst for Torment, is my favorite album of 2023. Please listen to it. Please listen to it. I'm going to leave those links in the description below. Listen to the album, buy some merch. We need to be there for our bands, okay? We need to be there for our bands. But thank you again. Even though we were sparse, even though life was, actually being really kind to us this year. Thank you for rocking with us during our patchy absence. And I promise you, we will remedy that going forward next year. I know I kind of made that promise in 2021, but this is a thing. And even my fiance is like, hey, stay on it. And we're going to stay on it. Not a game. But until next time, I am your man's Nic Rattlehead. In the heezy for sheezy. You better recognize him. And behind this camera is my man with the master plan, 100 grand. Only you, me, and God knows how much I love this guy. Tell him one more time. What's your name, man? Matt the Graff. Matt the Graff. Wash your hands. Support your bands. Peace. Hey, man, I'm under 30 minutes. 29 minutes and 7 seconds. You better recognize it.